You drop your hard-earned cash on a beautiful vehicle. You meticulously change the motor oil every 5,000 miles. You baby the transmission, and yet there is a silent, microscopic killer slowly eating away at your chassis right this very second. By the time you notice the paint bubbling on your rear fender or see a brown stain dripping down your rocker panels, the structural integrity of your car is already compromised. We treat our vehicles like heavy-duty appliances, expecting them to handle freezing temperatures and brutal road conditions without a second thought. But the physics and chemistry at play underneath your floorboards tell a much more violent story. Every year in the United States, hundreds of millions of dollars are lost to corrosion damage. Cars and trucks that have perfectly healthy powertrains, engines that purr like kittens, and transmissions that shift flawlessly are being sent to the scrapyard simply because their frames have rotted away to the point of being unsafe for the road. The enemy is not just water. The enemy is what the Department of Transportation is putting on the roads to keep them clear. A lot of folks still think we are just dealing with traditional rock salt, but modern highway maintenance teams are heavily utilizing liquid brine mixtures like magnesium chloride and calcium chloride. These liquid chemical mixtures are incredibly effective at melting ice and sticking to the asphalt, but they are an absolute disaster for your vehicle. When you drive down the highway at 65 miles per hour, your tires kick up this liquid brine in a fine, aerosolized mist. This sticky chemical cloud penetrates into the deepest, most hidden crevices of your undercarriage, coating your wiring harnesses, suspension control arms, and the hollow cavities of your frame rails. The biggest myth in the automotive industry right now is that you do not need to worry about rust because your new Ford F-150 or Honda CR-V is made with factory galvanized steel. While it is true that modern vehicles use zinc-coated metals that resist corrosion much better than the cars of the 1970s, they are absolutely not rust-proof. Assembly lines make mistakes, and the factory corrosion protection can only handle the brutal reality of heavily salted winter roads for so long. We have seen major recalls from highly reputable manufacturers, where entire rear subframes have rusted completely through, causing the suspension to collapse while driving. If your vehicle is made of steel, the question is not if it will rust, but when. Relying solely on the thin layer of factory sealant is a gamble you will eventually lose. Before we look at the exact techniques and hidden structural spots you need to check to stop your car from turning into a pile of red dust, if you want to keep your ride running and looking perfect for years to come, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. To combat this chemical assault, you have to take your winter undercarriage washing routine extremely seriously. Vehicles that get a thorough undercarriage wash once a week during the winter months corrode at a drastically slower rate than those left unwashed until spring. However, pulling into an automatic drive-through car wash and paying an extra $2 for the basic underbody spray is simply not going to cut it. Those automatic jets are too weak and only hit the superficial flat areas of your floor pan. They do nothing to remove the baked-on layers of liquid brine trapped above your exhaust heat shields or inside your subframe. Furthermore, when that liquid salt dries on your chassis, it goes dormant. The terrifying part is that the moment it gets introduced to even a tiny bit of moisture from the morning dew or a light rain, it reactivates and starts eating the metal all over again. The professional solution is to use a high-pressure washer at home with a specific rolling undercarriage attachment that blasts water directly upward. But water alone cannot dissolve the sticky chloride bonds of modern road brine. You need to add a specialized salt-neutralizing chemical into your pressure washer soap dispenser. By applying this neutralizing foam to your entire undercarriage once a month during the winter, you break down the corrosive chemical bonds, allowing the salt to be safely flushed away, preserving the structural integrity and resale value of your vehicle. Now, let us talk about a completely different area of the vehicle that rots from the inside out, completely unrelated to road salt. Have you ever noticed water sloshing around when you brake, or seen premature rust forming at the very bottom edge of your car doors? Your doors are not watertight submarines. Every time it rains or you wash your car, water slips right past the rubber windows, sweeps seals, and flows directly into the internal cavity of the door. The automotive engineers know this, which is why they designed small drain holes at the bottom edge of the door shell, usually hidden right behind the lower weather strip. The problem is that over the years, dirt, dust, and decaying pine needles wash down the window glass and accumulate at the bottom of the door. This organic sludge plugs up those tiny drain holes entirely. Suddenly, your door is holding 2 gallons of trapped water, effectively turning it into a mobile fish tank. The pinch welds at the bottom of the door sit submerged in this stagnant moisture, and within a year, the metal begins to rot from the inside out. Once you see paint bubbling on the lower door skin, the metal behind it is already gone. You should be taking a small zip tie or a piece of flexible wire and gently poking it up into those drain holes every single spring to clear out the blockage. The moment you clear a clogged drain, you will literally see a stream of filthy brown water pour out onto your driveway. Doing this simple 5-minute maintenance trick on your doors and the similar drain tubes for your sunroof will save you thousands of dollars in bodywork. Another massive trap for moisture and dirt is located right inside your wheel wells. Many modern vehicles use soft, felt like fibrous wheel arch liners instead of smooth plastic. Manufacturers use this material because it dramatically reduces road noise and tire roar from entering the cabin, but mechanically, It is a terrible design. These fibrous liners act like giant sponges. When you drive through snow, slush, and mud, that wet, salty debris gets packed heavily behind the liner, pressing directly against the bare sheet metal of your fenders and quarter panels. Because the liner holds the moisture, that mud never truly dries out. It just sits there, slowly digesting the steel fender for months on end. Every time you rotate your tires, you should pull back the plastic retaining clips on those liners, pull the fabric away from the fender edge, and use a hose to flush out the massive pile of composting dirt hidden behind there. We are about to cover a highly corrosive hidden area underneath your hood that dealership mechanics almost never check. But right before we reveal that critical fix and explain how to deal with severe paint damage, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you do not miss our next technical deep dive into vehicle longevity. Open your hood and look at your car battery. Most drivers only ever check the battery terminals for that fuzzy white or blue corrosion that causes starting issues. But almost nobody looks underneath the battery at the metal tray holding it all together. Automotive batteries are filled with highly corrosive sulfuric acid. Over time, due to extreme underhood temperatures or an alternator that is slightly overcharging, those acid vapors vent out of the battery casing and settle directly onto the painted steel battery tray below. Because the battery physically blocks your view, this acidic corrosion goes completely unnoticed for years. The acid slowly eats the paint, attacks the primer, and begins dissolving the steel tray from the inside out. If that tray rots all the way through, you have a massive safety hazard. In the event of a hard panic stop or a minor fender bender, a rotted tray cannot hold the heavy battery in place. The battery can literally rip free, smash into your engine cooling fan, or short out against the hood and cause an electrical fire. To prevent this nightmare, you need to physically remove the heavy battery from the vehicle once a year. Take a mixture of warm water and baking soda and scrub the entire metal tray area. The baking soda instantly neutralizes any active battery acid on the surface. If you see any bare metal or surface rust starting to form, hit it with a wire brush, wipe it clean with some rubbing alcohol, and seal it up with a few coats of black rust preventative spray paint. It is a detail that quick lube shops completely ignore, but it is absolutely critical for the safety and longevity of your engine bay. Moving back to the exterior, let us talk about your paint, because your clear coat is the first line of defense against the elements. If you do not have the budget for a highly expensive, professionally applied ceramic coating, do not worry. A high-quality carnauba wax or a modern synthetic polymer sealant provides fantastic protection for a fraction of the cost. When you apply a good layer of wax, you are not just making the car shiny, you are establishing a hydrophobic barrier. This means water, and the dissolved road salts within it, cannot grip the surface of the paint. They bead up and roll right off. This barrier also acts as a sacrificial shield against acidic bird droppings, tree sap, and industrial fallout. Waxing your vehicle before the harsh winter weather hits, and again in the spring, locks out the moisture and keeps the underlying sheet metal completely safe. But even with a good coat of wax, you cannot avoid the inevitable rock chips. Driving down the highway, the tires of the semi-truck in front of you are constantly launching tiny projectiles. When a small piece of gravel hits the front edge of your hood, or your pillars at 70 miles per hour, it shatters the clear coat, blasts through the base color, and exposes the bare, raw steel underneath. This microscopic crater creates a direct highway for rust to enter your chassis. During your spring detailing routine, you have to closely inspect the front end of your car and identify the different types of paint contamination. Sometimes, you will see tiny orange specks all over the lower half of your doors. That is usually just iron fallout, which is hot brake dust that has embedded itself into your clear coat and started to rust. That is purely on the surface and can be easily removed by spraying an iron decontamination chemical and gently rubbing the area with an automotive clay bar and plenty of lubrication. However, if you see a rock chip where the rust has taken root in the bare metal, you cannot ignore it. You need to take a tiny fiberglass sanding pen, gently scuff the rust out of the crater, and use an original equipment manufacturer touch-up paint pen matched exactly to your vehicle identification number to seal the hole. If you let that rock chip go untreated, the rust will crawl underneath the surrounding healthy paint, causing it to bubble and blister. Once the paint is bubbling, you are looking at a very expensive body shop repair involving grinding and repainting the whole panel. And if you wait until the metal is completely perforated and you can poke a screwdriver through it, no amount of paint will save you. Your only solution is cutting the rot out with an angle grinder and welding in fresh sheet metal. Keeping a car rust-free and running perfectly is not about throwing thousands of dollars at magical electronic rust prevention modules that claim to protect your car with a tiny electrical current, which, by the way, only works on boats submerged in water. It is simply about having the discipline to clean the hidden areas, neutralize the corrosive chemicals we encounter every winter, and seal up the minor damage before it spreads. An engine can always be unbolted and replaced. A transmission can be rebuilt. But once a chassis loses its structural integrity to rust, the vehicle is fundamentally dead. Have you ever found a hidden rust spot on your car that completely surprised you? Or are you currently fighting a losing battle against the salt trucks in your state? Drop your car's year, make, model, and the issues you are facing down in the comments below. I try to read and answer as many as I can to help you guys keep your cars on the road. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button one last time so you never miss another breakdown on how to outsmart the repair industry. And I will see you in the garage next time.